Welcome back. Now, the South African government is worried about the attacks in Mozambique and the number of South Africans trapped within the area. The country and the African Union, of course, have been quiet about the attacks until now. But what can be done? And is South African intervention even possible? Let's take this discussion even further with Peter Fabricius from the Institute for Security Studies. Peter, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. Let's start off with some context here and understand what exactly could be the possible motive for these attacks. In your opinion, is this more of a random ambush or more of a strategic attack here from the insurgents?
Yeah, that's quite a hard thing to calculate, because what happened here is that, look, it's a local insurgent. It's got some international links, it appears, to Islamic State, but its grievances are very much local, and it's trying to, make an impact locally. So the timing is interesting, though, because on Wednesday, Total, the French energy company that's developing the gas and has a gas processing plant at Afungi, which is like about 12, 15 kilometers from Palma, they announced that they were coming back. They had pulled out because of attacks nearby in December. And just as they come back and say, we're coming back because everything's secure and the government's given us assurances that there's like a 25-kilometer radius a safety zone, boom, the attack occurs. So it's hard not to put those two together and to ask whether maybe they're starting to step up the scale of these operations, because foreign interests have not really been targeted now, and now it seems they are. In what sense or with what purpose, it's not quite clear.
Yeah.
Maybe they see these gas works as being something that's not going to benefit the locals, only going to benefit, Maputo and foreign companies. So there could be a number of motives.
Right. This is not the first time that Mozambique has definitely seen these attacks. You mentioned in there, reminding us that this is not the first time that, Total has actually evacuated the premises. Yeah. Why did it take the Mozambican authorities approximately 3 days to respond here, according to reports?
Yeah, the Mozambique security forces just seem to be in disarray. They've never been very up to this task, really, to be honest. There's divisions between the military and the police. The top military commander, General Musa, died recently. So it's a mess. They often run from the battle. They're not very up to the fight. Often very badly trained, I think. And in fact, this private military company, which is registered here in South Africa, apparently, Dark Advisory Group, really did most of the fighting, from the air, and you can't really fight a battle from the air only. But without them fighting and, shooting at the insurgents, rescuing people, things could have got even worse.
Yeah. Peter, this places South Africa in a very compromised situation. Not only are we neighbours with Mozambique, but we know that South Africans lost their lives, have been affected by this attack. Where does this place the South African government in terms of intervention? Is it even possible at this stage? Yeah,
look, it does. To me, it's a kind of wake-up call to the South African government that has been dithering about this. And they keep saying that Mozambique doesn't want help, and that's probably, I'm sure that is true, but clearly there needs to be more forceful sort of diplomacy at the very least to persuade Mozambique that, look, this is not just your problem, it's our problem. And when it comes to intervention right here, I do know that the South African government was considering sending in special forces to rescue South Africans. On Saturday, they sent down, I believe, an assessment mission to Maputo and wanted to go north to Cabo Delgado to get a situation report. And the Mozambicans apparently wouldn't let them do that. And now I'm not sure that they will go in. The Mozambique military have finally got boots on the ground there, and they seem to have regained control of Palma to a large degree, although there are pockets of insurgents still attacking them as they go through the town, is what we're hearing. But so maybe for now, I guess the Mozambicans would say, well, it's not necessary because our guys are there. We don't know entirely, though, if all the South Africans and other expatriates are safe. Yesterday, kind of middle of the day, there were about 40 still unaccounted for. But, they maybe have been rescued. They may have been put on ships, which took, lifted off a lot of people from Fungi jetty yesterday and took them to Pemba. So it's going to take a while to get a clear picture of what's going on there.
Right. What about the African Union? What's your opinion of their involvement here? Because, I mean, they've been criticized to be quite a weak body within the continent, late to respond, issuing statement, but not necessarily having, presence where there is conflict, where human rights, of course, are compromised. What are your expectations, then, of the African Union in this regard?
Yeah. Well, not very much, to be honest. I mean, there is a principle in the African Union, I think they call it subsidiarity, where the more regional, local intergovernment body has the first responsibility to do something about this. And in this case, it's SADC, Southern African Development Community. And SADC has been discussing this, but it keeps postponing it. And it just doesn't seem to be getting off the ground. A lot of it does seem to be because Mozambique doesn't want to admit to the problem. It didn't for a long time even admit that there was an insurgency, kept calling it crime and bandits and whatever. More recently, it hasn't acknowledged at least that there's a bigger problem than that there is an insurgency with different aims than just crime. But it's still been very reluctant to actually say what it wants, apart from just asking for equipment, like give us the stuff. And SADC is saying, we need a strategy here. You need, somebody to use this equipment effectively, a strategy to apply it. And that doesn't seem to have been forthcoming. There was supposed to be a SADC summit in January, actually, to discuss this, and it's been postponed, and nobody seems to know when. It might happen this month. I think what's going to happen now after this attack is there's going to be a new sense of urgency that's injected into this regional diplomacy. One would certainly hope so.
Yeah, we do hope so indeed. Well, Peter, great talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. Peter Fabricius, of course, from the Institute of Security Studies.